The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a 2003 American film directed by Marcus Nispel and a remake of the 1974 film by Tobe Hooper. So 2003 and 2004 were like really pivotal years for me for like getting into horror. I mean, sure, I'd always had an interest in, like staring blankly at, videotapes in rental stores in the 80s. And in the 90s, I was, obsessed with the, like the scary stories that tell in the dark books, X-Files and the Goosebumps books, stuff like that. And even by 2002, like I'd seen some horror films, but they were kind of few and far between. And this was probably like the second or third horror movie that I'd seen in theater. The cast here, I would just kind of call serviceable, nothing great, nothing terrible. But, then you have R. Lee Ermey, as pretty much the main villain of the film, Sheriff Hoyt. Now, don't get me wrong, this film does have flaws. I'll talk about them. But when you look at like certain factors, I think it holds up pretty well. First, it was a 2003 American horror film made for a mainstream audience. So I think you could do a hell of a lot worse. And sure, I am kind of semi-biased, but even watching it now, and I do kind of still watch this from time to time, it's pretty good. And second, this was Marcus Nispel's feature-length debut, which is cool, just like Tobe Hooper back in '74. And you just know that Michael Bay and the Platinum Dune folks were just watching him closely. The plot, really close to the original film. At times, it's almost beat for beat, but there are slight nuances that, keep it kind of fresh. It's more polished, and it doesn't have that 70s grit, but it is very dark and, at times, extremely brutal. Andrew Briniarski does a good job at playing Leatherface. He's just hulking and intimidating and brings the sort of sad vibe that the character has always had. There were some odd remake choices, like having basically the same protagonists, but changing their names for some reason. Like Jessica Biel's name is Erin, and not Sally Hardesty, despite, her being the Sally Hardesty character. I don't get that at all. And the trailer that Erin stumbles into while she's trying to escape Leatherface seemed really pointless, introducing characters, unimportant characters late in the movie that we didn't need. But, I mean, despite its flaws, I think it's a very decent remake that sits next to, the Friday the 13th and Amityville Horror remakes. They all kind of came out around the same time, and I actually liked all three. We didn't need this, but it's a fun enough watch. Now, I definitely prefer the original, in case you're wondering. I know I didn't talk a whole lot about it, but it's, really without contest here. The original, absolutely. It doesn't really age or lose its mystique. It just kind of always stays the same, and it's really, really cool film. But the question is, which one do you prefer? Thanks for watching, though, and I hope to see you tomorrow for my 11th video in this series. Cheers, guys.